Hey YouTube, Wayne's Fish Tanks 99 back at it for another video. In this week's video I'm going to be going over my top 5 favorite aquarium fish in the freshwater hobby. I'll do saltwater in another video, but for now I'm just going to do freshwater fish. So I'm just quickly going to go over the top 5 in no particular order, and then I will talk about them all in a little more detail, and then what my actual order is from top 5. From number 1 being my favorite fish. So one of them is the Remy-Nose Tetra. Number 2 is the Ranchu Goldfish. 3 is the Apistogramma agassizi. Number 4 is the German Blue Ram. And number 5 is the rainbow fish. So pretty much I'm going to talk about 2 rainbows, the Boesemani and the Praecox. So I'll go into that a little bit now, and then I'm going to go into the top 5 in the order of number 5 to number 1 being my favorite. So for number 5, the Ranchu Goldfish. So the Ranchu Goldfish is one of my favorite fish because I used to have 2 of them in a 40-gallon breeder tank that I used to have before I was making YouTube videos. This is back when I lived in my first apartment, when I first moved out, and I always wanted Ranchu goldfish, so I decided to get them, and I was really happy, and that's why now they're one of my favorite fish. So they come in all different colors. The pair that I had was red and white, but they come in red, white, orange, blue, black, even brown sometimes, and you can either get them solid color or they'll come mixed. They're very peaceful fish, they're easy to take care of, and they have great personality. Whenever I used to feed the fish, I would always put my hand in the tank and they would come right up and eat out of your hand. Which is obviously a really cool experience. And yeah, that's pretty much that. I mean, I kept them in a 40-gallon breeder, but I could say maybe a 30-gallon you could get away with keeping them in a 30, but I wouldn't keep anything smaller than that. I would suggest, bigger the better, because they do get quite large. Number 4 for me is going to be the Apistogramma agassizi. As you can tell by the picture there, it's probably one of the most beautiful fish in the aquarium hobby. They come in all types of colors, but it's usually the red that stands out the most to me. That's why I love the color of the fish. I would say maybe a 20 or 25 to 30-gallon tank is probably the smallest that they should be kept in. I would suggest 30 or even larger. They are part of the cichlid family. They do get semi-aggressive if they don't have enough hiding spots. So if you're going to have something, maybe have some dense vegetation or maybe a cave or 2 that they can hide in. Kind of a cool little fact is that the Apistogramma agassizi will change color depending on its mood. So if you ever notice that one day it might have a little bit more of a blue tinge, or it might be a little darker red, it's maybe because they're in a different mood. So that's kind of cool, kind of a cool fact. Moving on to number 3, is going to be the rainbow fish. So I said I'm going to talk about the Praecox and the Boesemani. Those are my 2 favorite types. There's lots of different kinds of rainbow fish, but those are my 2 favorite. Minimum tank size, again, probably about a 20-gallon for the Praecox because they are a little smaller, and for the Boesemani I would say a 30. They are a schooling fish, and they're very peaceful, so they're not too difficult to take care of. So the Praecox will be about 3 inches, and the Boesemani will get about 4. That's why there's a little bit of a minimum tank size difference. So the obvious distinction between the 2 is the Praecox is silver with the red dorsal fins, and the Boesemani is more of a silvery dorsal fin with a blue and yellow body. They're both really nice. so I don't really know which one's my favorite, but I've had only the Praecox before, but I'm sure most of you guys probably watch Dustin's fish tanks. If not, check him out. But he had, like back in the day, he still had lots of Bosemani's, and that's probably one of his favorite fish. So I learned to love them through his channel and just watching them in his 220 tank. It's really cool. For me, the number 2 fish is going to be the German blue ram. I had a pair of German blues in my 30-gallon tank at my other apartment. I didn't make videos then again, but they're just such a beautiful fish. They are really finicky though with water parameters, so you really have to make sure that your water quality is pristine, that you do water changes regularly, and just keep testing it all the time because they are very, very picky. They can become aggressive as well if there's not enough hiding spots, or if it's not densely vegetated where they can kind of stay and hide a little bit. So that's definitely a recommendation for a tank for them. Minimum tank size is a 30-gallon. I did keep them in a 20-gallon before as well at first, before I moved up to a larger tank for them. And it worked out fine, but again, I just had the 2 of them in there, and I did have lots of hiding spots for them, so I don't think it was an issue. I would, if I was keeping another pair, of course it would have to be male and female, because 2 males doesn't really work. And one cool thing about the German blue rams is that once they pair up, they usually remain faithful. So even if you put another female in, the one male will only stay with the one female, which is kind of a cool fact. But then moving on to my number 1 favorite fish is going to be the Reminos tetra. I know it's not all that original, but the Reminos tetra is my favorite. It's definitely one of the most popular fish in the fish tank keeping community, probably for the reason that it's one of the most beautiful tetras I find, with the red head and then the black checkered tail, which is really, really nice. I'm hoping in the 50-gallon tank here to have a school of probably about 12, which would look really cool. I always found schools of Reminos looks beautiful because they do have a nice tight school. I had 6 of them in a 20-gallon previously at my old apartment. I did make videos on that a while ago, so they're probably one of my videos that I made 3 or 4 years ago. For school recommendations, I would say no less than 6 if you want them to school. 6 or above is ideal for them. Yeah, they just look really, really nice. Like, that's probably why they are my favorite fish. And I mean, who doesn't love a nice school of fish? So I would say 10 gallons is probably the minimal that you should keep them in, but I'm gonna keep probably about 12 in my 55 or 50. So I'm just hoping that everything works out, and in the next couple of days my local fish store will have the Reminos. I'm trying to get them in. It's usually harder around Christmas time because lots of people are buying new fish for their tanks, and other kids are getting fish into the hobby. So since that's one of the most popular fish, sometimes it's hard to get 12. So hopefully I'm going to go and check out my local fish store, and hopefully I can grab a couple. So yeah, that's my top 5 video of my top 5 favorite aquarium fish in the freshwater hobby. But yeah, we'll just take a quick look and give you an update on the 50-gallon tank. I'm sure, as you'll notice, some plants in the middle here have been shifted, but only because the rainbow shark loves to hide in the corner there and in the corner there, and I had the vegetation back there and he just kept uprooting all the plants. So right now I just have them in the middle. All the plants seem to be looking really healthy. Some of the jungle val I still have to trim up, and some of the hair grass I still got to trim. But other than that, everything looks really, really good. The jungle val is taking off nicely. I'm sure you can see there's a nice shoot coming off. The hornwort's growing out nicely, and of course the Amazon swords, you can see the fresh growth there and fresh growth in the corner. And this little red crypts and the one back there have been taken off really nicely. I sprouted it and there was probably about that much sprouting out, and now they're already looking really, really nice. So I've done a couple water changes on the tank. Try to do about one a week, probably about 30%, and that pretty much keeps the water quality and parameters in check. So I will come back to you guys with another video either later in the week or early next week. So yeah, thanks for watching, and if you have any suggestions, leave your comments in the comment section below, and I look forward to hearing from you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.